Hi, this is Chapter 2, Lesson 5, and we're going to talk about scatter plots and lines of regression. Um, if you've ever done lines of best fit, that is what we're talking about here. So you'll need your TI-84 Plus to do this lesson, and if you don't have one, you need to get one fast because we will begin using these. I'm not going to teach a different method of solving these problems, so make sure you have your calculator. All right, the first thing is correlation. If you have data that seems to move up, almost like it has a positive slope, together they kind of all are rising as the x value is increasing, the y value is also increasing, so they seem to move in an upward direction. That's called a positive correlation. If they seem to fall down as a set, they seem to all be going down. As x increases, the y is decreasing. Then that would be a negative correlation. And if they just seem to be all over the place, you can't determine in this case if they all are rising or if they're all falling. So it seems that there is no correlation here. Those are the types of correlations you'll need to be able to identify. Now, we're going to talk about a number called the correlation coefficient. And the correlation coefficient, it actually tells you approximately how close the data is to each other. So in these cases, the data is pretty close to forming a line. If the data is really tight together and it's almost going to make a perfect line, then your correlation coefficient is going to be really close to 1. If it's a positive correlation, it'll be really close to positive 1. And if it's a negative correlation, it'll be really close to negative 1. Of course, if there's no correlation, the value for the correlation coefficient would be 0. So the closer your data is to forming a perfect line, the closer it is to the value 1. All right. So here's what we're going to need to do. First of all, take your calculator, and it says make sure that your diagnostics are turned on. We need them turned on because you need to see the correlation coefficient. So to make sure that they are turned on, you press mode, which is right next to the second button. Well, I guess first I should turn on my calculator and then hit mode. And if you'll scroll down to the next page, you'll see something called Stat Diagnostics. It is right here, Stat Diagnostics. And we want to turn them on. So go over to on and press enter. Now, anytime you need to get off of a screen, you can just hit second quit. Okay? The quit is the mode button. So second, and you're activating the blue keys, and so quit is the blue key there. To turn on the plots, so if you want to see the graph plotted, you need to turn on the plots. So if you press y equals, and there's another way to do this, if you want to know, I can show you. But see these three, plot 1, plot 2, plot 3? If you just arrow up, and I'm going to press enter, so now it turns highlighted around the word plot 1. That means it's turned on. All right, so get one highlighted. You're going to have to remember that if you are not doing statistical stuff, that you're going to have to turn those plots back off, or your calculator is going to say, there's something wrong here. It's going to tell you that there's an error. All right, so next thing that you're going to do is you're going to use the stat key. And the stat key is right here. So up at the top, 3 across. All right, edit. And now we have list 1 and list 2. This is where you'll put all your x values and your y values, your input data and your output data. So you'll put all of that in there. And then once you're done, you'll go back to the stat menu, which I would always clear out of this screen, like second quit once you're done. And then we're going to go back to the stat. And this time, because we have our data in there, we're going to calculate something with it. So we'll go over to calc, and number 4 talks about a linear regression, which creates your line of best fit. So you don't have to estimate it anymore. Your calculator will do it for you. So we're going to use this one for right now. As we go through this course, you will learn about the other ones. So you would press enter there. But first, let's put some data in there. On the back of this shows the median income of U.S. families in the period 1970 to 2002. So I'm going to quit out of this screen, second quit. And then I'm going to go to Stat, right here. Edit is number 1, press enter. And now I am going to type in all of the years for my X values or for my list 1. And I'm going to type in all of the income for my list 2. It is important that you type them in exactly as they are and you double check when you're done. All right, once you have all of the data put in, now we're going to go through and hit second quit. Okay, and then we're going to go back to the stat menu. Now we want to calculate the line of best fit. So we'll go down to number 4, linear regression, and you get this screen. Basically, this is saying, hey, what are we going to use to determine, what data am I using to determine your line of best fit? And you say, well, I want you to use list 1, list 2. Your calculator already sets this up for you. If you have a TI-83, you'll need to come see me so I can teach you how to do it on that calculator. And we're going to go all the way down. I'm just arrowing down. You can also press enter to get down here to store regression equation. If you have a TI-84, you should be able to hit alpha and the trace button, and it'll pull up this little menu, and you want to use Y1. That's where I want to store this equation so that my calculator can use it. So it's going to store it in the Y equals screen. I'm not pressing that button, but it's going to store it right there so that it will graph it. So we're going to press enter here so it will choose Y1, and now we're going to go to calculate. Now this information, my A, I will just rewrite this equation in the form y equals ax plus b, and in this case I'm going to round because I think it asked me to here. It didn't ask me to, but I'm going to round. We'll just round this time to the nearest hundredth, so 2 decimal places afterwards. Alright, so let's just write this equation. So y equals, you can also write f of x equals 1,349. This is my A, 0.87 x. So ax plus the b plus, well, the b is negative, so I'm just going to go ahead and put minus. Minus, let me erase that, minus 2, 6, 5, 0, 7, 6, 8.34. Okay, now take a look at the correlation coefficient. The correlation coefficient is the R value. We're not going to concern ourselves with this R squared value. You always want to look at the R value. It's at 0.99. So what that tells you is that this data, since that value is really, really close to 1, this information is really close to forming a perfect line. Okay, now it says use the data or use the equation to predict when the median income is, or what the median income is in 2015. So what we can do is we can, since we stored our equation in Y1, if you click Y equals, you'll see your equation in here. Now what we can do is we can use the table. If I hit second and graph, That's activating the table keys. Well, I need to get to 2015, and all I'm seeing is 6, and I am not going to sit here and arrow down all day long to get 2015. So let's set up our table with this blue key here, table set. We need to hit second to get it. Second, and then the window button, table set. Now, where do I want it to start? Well, 2015 will put me right there. So I want it to start at 2015. I don't care how it counts. It's saying, do you want to count by ones? Is that how you want to change the table? Doesn't matter to me. Now, second again, and go back to your table. 2015, the median income was $69,214. So in 2015, the median income was 69,214. I'll erase this. 69,214, and that is in dollars. And that is all you have to do. So the steps are on the other side, and watch this video as many times as you need in order to be able to do this process. Okay, ask me if you have any questions. Have a good night.